So hello, here we are in the year 2030. I know you've all wondered, based on certain things in WWE right now, what the world of wrestling will look like in the year 2031, 10 years into the future from now. Well, luckily for you, some crazy mad lad with time on his hands and the same curiosity as you also decided he wanted to know what wrestling would be like in the year 2031, 10 years into the future, and has simmed, well, not technically 10 years as of yet, technically 9 years and 5 months into the future, because it's with the August 2021 mod, Real World Chronicles, and we're going to see, there's some interesting things I know have happened, and there are still some stuff that I either have forgotten or haven't looked at yet, so some of it will be live reactions, some of it I already know some of the things that happened. I do have an agenda of what I want to go over, but first, as you can see on your front page, Wrestler of the Year for 2030 has gone to Britt Baker. Not Women's Wrestler of the Year, just overall Wrestler of the Year. She is like, well, we'll look at obviously the popularity and shit, but as you can see here, she's a movie star. She's a 89 popularity wrestler. She's had runs all over the place. One of the success stories of the 10-year sim. AEW is Company of the Year 2030. Team of the Year 2030 has gone to Jack Evans and MJF. Match of the Year 2030 has gone MJF and Jack Evans versus Kenny Omega and Sammy Guevara at AEW Rampage. Show of the Year is New Japan G1 Climax Final 39. The Young Wrestler of the Year is Rena, who actually is a real wrestler. She must be like 15 in real life, because this is an actual worker, this isn't a regen. So she's still 24, 9 years into the future. That's weird. Veteran Wrestler of the Year goes to 47-year-old Kenny Omega. Female Wrestler of the Year goes to 39-year-old Yuka Sakazaki. Most Improved Company of the Year is Major League Association of Wrestling, which is obviously a new created company. Independent Wrestler of the Year has gone to Arisu Endu. Manager of the Year has gone to legendary NXT manager AJ Styles. He's won this, yeah, it says there, third time he's won the trophy. I did notice him winning it a lot. He's in NXT as a manager, retired, and yeah, obviously working wonders for someone down there. Announcer of the Year is Yuji Shindo, and color commentator of the Year is Cheerleader Melissa, and referee of the Year is Steve Linsky. Is there where I can check the old annual award? Yeah, there is. Here we go. So as far as we're back, obviously the first one was 2020 was real life. John Moxley won it. 2021 Wrestler of the Year was John Cena for the third time, and then Naito won it 3 years on the trot. 2022, 23, 2024 was Naito, and then Takahashi won it twice, 25 and 26. 27 was Will Ospreay. 2028's Wrestler of the Year was Yuka Sakazaki. 2029's was Nick Jackson. And 2030's was Britt Baker, as we just saw. Tag Team of the Year, this is also a weird one. Jay White and Kenta won it for 2021. 2022 and 2023 were both won by Shingo and Naito. 2024, the overpowered team of Hiroshi Tanahashi and Kazuchika Okada won it. And then Bushi and Takahashi won it, 25 and 26. So Takahashi won Team of the Year and Wrestler of the Year that year. Chris Brooks and Dragon Lee won it in 2027. 2028, Nick Jackson and Seth Rollins. That is an AEW team, because we'll get to that in a minute, but Seth Rollins is in AEW right now. 2029, The Pages, The Joke, has finally come to life. Adam Page and Ethan Page teaming up to become 2029's Tag Team of the Year, and then 2030 is Jack Evans and MJF. Young Wrestler of the Year was El Hijo del Vikingo in 2021. 2022 was Microman, then Julia Hart, then LA Park Jr., then Julia Hart again, then Suzu Suzuki, then Vicente Martinez, then Rafael Romero, Rena. I think these two might be regens. Veteran Wrestler of the Year, Ishii won it in 2021, then Tanahashi, Go-O, Tanahashi, Naito, Moxley, and then Kenny Omega twice. Female Wrestler of the Year was Charlotte Flair in 2021, then Britt Baker, then Becky Lynch 3 years in a row, 23, 24, 25. Then Io Shirai won it, 26. 27 was Yuka. 28 and 29 were Britt Baker. Funnily enough, the year Yuka Sakazaki won overall Wrestler of the Year, she didn't win Female Wrestler of the Year. And then Yuka won it again this year, 2030. Independent Wrestler of the Year was Mayu, then Miyahara, Flamita, Mustafa Ali, Laredo Kid, Tony Deppen, Joe Lando twice, and Arisu Endo. Company of the Year, WWE won it in 2021. Good one. 2022, all the way through 2027, were all won by New Japan Pro Wrestling. And then 28, 29, and 30 were won by AEW. Most Improved Company of the Year didn't have a winner in 2021. Then Noah, 22, GLEAT, the good old GLEAT in 2023. IWRG, whoever they are, who are they? Of their real thing, International Wrestling Revolution Grupo. And I can see they've got... We'll get to rosters later on. Then ICW No Holds Barred. Then AEW won it in 2027. NALOW, what is that? New Age League of Wrestling. And then Stardom won it 2029. And MLAW, Major League Association of Wrestling, won it in 2030. Match of the Year, this will be interesting. 2021, John Cena defeated Randy Orton at WWE Survivor Series 2021, was Match of the Year. 2022, John Moxley defeated Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson even, at AEW Dynamite for a 100. 2023 was Naito vs Kenta, New Japan G1 Climax Final 32. Okada and Tanahashi defeated Shingo and Tetsuya Naito. I'm sure that is Tetsuya Naito and not a different guy, because it just cut his name off. Yeah. Will Ospreay defeated Jay White, Best of the Super Juniors 30. Then Will Ospreay defeated Shingo, Destruction in Beppu, 2026. Naito defeated Ospreay, New Japan Castle Attack Night 2. Britt Baker defeated Yuka Sakazaki, AEW Dynamite 100, 2028 Match of the Year. 2029, Nick Jackson defeated Kenny Omega in a cage match on Dynamite for a 100. That sounds interesting if there was an actual story behind that. And 2030 was the round table of MJF and Jack Evans defeating Kenny Omega and Sammy Guevara. Card of the Year, SummerSlam, Sakura Genesis, G1 Climax Final, Sakura Genesis, Best of Super Juniors, Destruction in Kagoshima, King of Pro Wrestling, Wrestle Kingdom Night 1 2021, AEW Full Gear, and then G1 Climax Final 39. Manager of the Year was Paul Heyman, Sakura Hirota, Stokely or Malcolm Bivens twice, then Sakura Hirota won it again, then Toru Yano won it, then Tanahashi won it in 2028 as a manager, and then AJ Styles again twice. Announcer of the Year, this guy pretty much dominated all Japanese guys, and then Andy Shepherd. And then Color Commentator of the Year was Milano Collection AT, Pat McAfee, Vampiro, Milano, Pat, JoJo, and then Melissa came out of nowhere. And these are the referees of the year, if you really care. So I don't know where I'm going to start from here, because normally when people do videos like this, for like Football Manager, for example, they always leave off stuff that I would want to see. So I've tried to take a note of everything. End of year awards we've done. Company wars, I'm assuming, won't be too much different. Total fan base in the world. Apparently, number 1 is WWE, number 2 is NXT, number 3 is NXT UK, then AEW, then New Japan of America, then New Japan, Ring of Honor. Yeah, nothing really shocking in here. There's a couple more mediums. You can see Stardom a big, Ring of Honor a medium, DDT a medium, Dragon Gate a medium, Noah a medium, AAA a medium, Tokyo Joshi a medium, Glee a medium, so a Sendai Girls and Freedoms, and then WXW and them. So they can all offer exclusive written deals out because they're all medium. One thing I do want to point out too, which is kind of sad about this save, is that there was one company you might not have seen in there. CMLL actually folded. The longest running wrestling company in the world went out of business in August 2030. It lasted 97 years. Well, 96 years and 11 months. And yeah, that is one loss we made throughout the course of the sim, which when I got the email through I was like, oh, that kind of blows. Most popular wrestlers in the world, let's have a quick, I don't want to look too much because it might give away who they work for, I don't want to go over that, but here we have the, I think it's top 100, yeah, top 100 most over wrestlers on planet Earth in the year 2031. John Cena is still here, and he's the most popular guy in the world. Number 2 is Elias. however old he is. And then Pete Dunne is number 3, Rhea Ripley, Britt Baker, Kevin Steen, Io Shirai, Rey Fenix, Austin Theory, Marcel Bartel. If I sort this by just United States, it'll be a lot different actually, because there goes John Cena, then MJF, then Britt Baker, Kenny Omega, Elias, Marcel Bartel, Adam Page, Pete Dunne, Rey Fenix, Rhea Ripley, Kevin Owens, Io Shirai, Alexander Hammerstone, Tony Deppen, Austin Theory, Volta, Bray Wyatt, Brian Pillman Jr., Alexa, Marco Stunt, Charlotte Flair, Shaquille O'Neal, who is me, that's my player character, Jade Cargill, Kana, or Asuka, Moose, Nick Jackson, Apollo, Woods, Penta, Seth, Gargano, Cody, Wardlow, Shida, Ricochet, Sammy, Riddle, Darby, Bianca, Trey Baxter, Blake Christian, Ace Austin, Ike Manjiro, Omos, 77, Go on King, Yuka Sakazaki, Carmelo Hayes, Riho, Odyssey Jones, James Drake, Julia Hart, Sami Zayn, Zach Gibson. I can't be bothered to read them all out, but you can see them here. I'll flick through them all. Pause if you really do care that much. Some interesting names up here, and some interesting names quite low down. Like I've only just seen Matt Jackson, John Moxley down here. And a couple of regens like this guy who are up here. But now I think it's time to go to what people obviously think is the most interesting part of this. The companies. I'm obviously going to start with the number 1 company in the world. WWE. Let's tour the company first. WWE are rated as being large in size, yep. They have 146 active wrestlers on their roster. Their most popular stars are the reigning WWE Universal Champion John Cena, MJF, a former Tag Team of the Year award winner, Elias, who has been with WWE for over a decade, Marcel Bartel, who has been with WWE for over a decade, and the reigning WWE Champion Pete Dunne. So we got a little bit of a look into the championships, and we went through that tour there. Titles, let's look at that now then. Oh god, I can see a name at the top here already. So Money in the Bank, 2022 Money in the Bank was won by Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins in 2023, Kevin Owens in 2024, Drew McIntyre in 25 and 26, Ricochet in 2027, then Kevin Owens again in 2028, Pete Dunne in 2029, and most recently in 2030, Money in the Bank was won by Marco Stunt. I forgot about this until I've just looked at it now. Royal Rumble is a lot less interesting. John Cena won his 3rd Royal Rumble in the year 2022. Then Roman Reigns won his 2nd in 2023. Ray won his 2nd in 2024. Pete Dunne won his 1st in the year 2025. And every single one since then has been won by John Cena. He's now won 8 Royal Rumbles. Oh, I don't even want to know how many world titles he's won. But it must be north of 20 at this point. Women's Money in the Bank. Becky won it 2022, then Charlotte 23, Becky 24, Charlotte 25. Britt Baker won it 2026, Asuka 2027, Alexa 2028, and then 29 and 30 were both Io Shirai. The Women's Rumble has also been being run, that's nice. Charlotte won it in 2022, then Becky, then Charlotte, then Becky. Then Rhea won it in 2026, Becky 2027, Asuka 2028, Charlotte 2029, and Rhea Ripley 2030. So we're 10 years into the future now, and there has been a combined total of 5 Women's Royal Rumble winners. And the only person who's won it in real life that didn't win it again was Bianca Belair. That's bizarre. I think I'll save the WWE titles lineage for the end. Let's start with the WWE 24/7 Championship. Aramis is the current 24/7 champion. This guy. Insults. Flamita hates him, okay. So let's scroll down to the start. Here where Reggie had it. Reggie held it to start with. He drops it in February 2022 to Omos, who then loses it back to Reggie, who then drops it to Chad Gable. Then Shane Thorne won it, then he vacated it for whatever reason. I don't know if he got injured or left. And then Humberto won the vacant belt. Gable then won his second reign off of Humberto Carrillo. Jordan Devlin had it. then Ridge Holland, then Jordan Devlin again. Calvin Tankman won it. Then Arez, then Cameron Grimes. And Solomon Crow, I guess, is back in WWE, and he won the 24/7 title for 8 months. And then dropped it, I'm assuming at WrestleMania, because it says week 1 of April, to Jordan Devlin for his 3rd reign, who then vacated the belt. Then Ace Austin won it. Big E won the 24/7 title. Then Calvin Tankman won it off Big E, then Big E won it back. Brian Dillon, who sounds like a regen to me. I'm not too sure, though. He might be a real guy, though I just don't know. Then Mace beat him for it. Then Brian Dillon won his 2nd reign, then Rhett Titus, and now Aramis has it. Even less interesting than that is the Women's Tag Team Championships, or as they should now be renamed, the Sasha Banks and Bayley Memorial Championships. Because we go back down here to real life with Natty and Tamina here, who vacated it at the start of the mod because Natty's injured. Then Nia and Shayna won it for the 3rd time. Then they dropped it to Shotzi and Nox, who dropped it back to Nia and Shayna, who then vacated it. Who then Sasha Banks and Bayley won it for the 3rd time in May 2023. This number is gonna seem very small come the end. Aaliyah and Shotzi won it off them in August 2023. Aaliyah and Shotzi, yeah, because I think Tegan Nox was gone by this point, so Aaliyah replaced her. Sasha Banks and Bayley won it back off them, of course. Then Sasha and Bayley dropped it again to Aaliyah and Shotzi. Dropped it back to Sasha Banks and Bayley. Who dropped it back to Aaliyah and Shotzi. Dropped it back to Sasha Banks and Bayley. Then Rhea Ripley and Katrina Cortez broke the fucking however many year streak, 3-year streak of just those two teams passing the belts around. Ali and Carmella, which actually sounds like a team that they would do in real life, won them. Then Bianca Belair and Amelia McKenzie won it. March week 2, 2027. Then dropped it to June 1st, week 1 of June 2027 to oh no, Ali and Carmella. Ali and Carmella won it back, and then they dropped it to Sasha and Bayley for their 7th reign. Then Toni Storm and Kaylee Ray, who you can see are current 3-time champions, they won their 1st at the Royal Rumble 2028 by the looks of it. Took it to August week 1 of 2028, where they dropped it to Riho and Zoe Stark. And then Sasha Banks and Bayley won it back for their 8th win. Then Toni Storm and Kaylee Ray won it for their 2nd reign. Sasha and Bayley, 9-time champions now, vacated it, and Ali and Carmella won them. They vacated them. Then Zoe Stark and Bayley won them, because I think Sasha was gone by this point, so they ended at 9 Women's Tag Team Championship reigns. And then Toni Storm and Kaylee Ray come in to win. SmackDown Tag Team Championships is very interesting. Jake Atlas and Ace Austin hold them at the minute. So again, if we go down to real life, the Usos hold them until week 4 of April 2022, where the New Day won them, who dropped them to the team of Finn Balor and John Cena. Then the Usos, then the Grizzled Young Vets, then Damian Priest and Elias, then the Usos win them back, then Ricochet and Dominic Mysterio win them, then The Fiend and Drew McIntyre won them, then Elias and Damian Priest for their 2nd reign, then Kofi and Woods for their 3rd reign, then Randy Orton and Angel Garza won them, then the Lucha Bros won them, then Imperium, back to the Lucha Bros, back to Imperium, then the Revival, I guess, are back, and they're the 2-time SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Then Imperium win their 3rd titles off them. Then the Mysterios, Rey and Dominic. Rey Mysterio is still going in 2029, and him and Dom are 2-time Tag Team Champions. They then vacated them. Rohan Raja and Jake Atlas then won them. Then Zicky Dice and Grayson Waller. And then finally, Jake Atlas and Ace Austin. The Raw Tag Team Championships. I think there's a little bit less randomness to these. Because you've got AJ and Omos who vacated them. And then Eric and Ivar won them. Then Johnny Gargano and Sami Zayn. Then Sheamus and MVP. Then Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I take it back already. There's a lot of randomness to these, because I can see the Mysterios won them. Then Baron Corbin and Reggie were the Raw Tag Team Champions. Then the Street Profits. Then Alpha Academy. Then Legado. New Day. Lucha Bros. New Day. Lucha Bros. Imperium. Lucha Bros. Revival. New Day. Ace Austin and Razor. New Day. Grizzled Young Vets. New Day. Grizzled Young Vets. Ricochet and Walter won them. Then Grizzled Young Vets won them back. Then Randy Orton and Ike Manjiro were the Raw Tag Team Champions. who then vacated them so that Santana and Ortiz could win them. In 2029, this is. And then the Grizzled Young Vets in their 4th reign, vacant Big E and Xavier Woods for their first time that combo wins them. Then the Lucha Bros, then Big E and Woods win them back, and then the Lucha Bros currently hold them in the year 2031. United States Championship, currently held by what looks like a regen to me. So Sheamus took it to week 3 of September, where Kevin Owens beat him for it. Then Owens dropped it to Baron Corbin, who dropped it to Ricochet, who dropped it to Otis, who then vacated it, I guess due to injury, because we know he did stick around for the whole save. Then Riddle won the vacant belt. Ricochet then beat Riddle for it, who dropped it to Baron Corbin again for his 3rd reign. Then Jinder Mahal won his 2nd title in the year 2023, so look out for that one, Jinder Maniacs. Then John Morrison, for, believe it or not, his first ever United States Championship win in 2024. Baron Corbin wins his 4th US title. Otis gets his 2nd, a proper run this time, because he got injured right away last time. And he drops this one to Baron Corbin for his 5th reign. Then Otis wins it back again. Then Neville, I guess, is back, and he won it off Otis in 2025. Then Riddle beat Neville for it. Then Austin Theory won it. Then Karrion Kross won it. Then Odyssey Jones was the US champion in 2027, who dropped it back to Neville. Then Carmelo Hayes, who went on to bigger and better things, spoilers, won it. And then Ike Manjiro beat it off him. Then Solomon Crowe is back in 2028, must be getting on at that point, to be fair. And he won the US title, held it for a while, before dropping it to Alan Cooper, who is a regen. I know he's a regen, because he was the NXT champion for a while. Otis won his 4th one, then Fabian Aichner won it, Josh Briggs, and now finally this guy, Rob Lias, is the champion. As for the Intercontinental Championship, Apollo Crews drops it to Finn Balor in real life. Then Apollo wins it back off Finn. Then Elias wins it. Then Mustafa Ali, then Johnny Gargano, then Sami Zayn. Then Dominic Mysterio, then John Morrison, then Dominic Mysterio. Then Orange Cassidy in the year 2026 at the 2026 Royal Rumble. Orange Cassidy becomes the WWE Intercontinental Champion, who drops it to Angel Garza, who drops it to Randy Orton. Hey, they were the tag team champion. I wonder if the tag team broke up and I can't remember the timeline, or if they feuded after that. Trey Baxter then beat Randy Orton for it, who dropped it to Dominic for his 3rd IC title reign. Then Jacob Fatu won it. Then TJP's back, and he won it in the year 2028. Then Dexter Lumis won it. Joey Janela, this is 2029 at this point. Then Lonnie Hart, who I believe is a regen, and then now Otis has it. And finally, the big boy and girl. We'll start with the Raw Women's Championship. I can see Shida has it currently. That's nice. That's very cool. Nikki Ash takes it to the Royal Rumble, where she drops it to Zelina Vega. And then Asuka wins it for the 3rd time off her. And then Naomi wins it. And then Rhea Ripley gets her 2nd reign finally. And then Io wins it off Rhea in 2023. Then Becky and Io. So Io drops it to Becky, who drops it back to Io, who drops it back to Becky. And then Asuka wins her 4th reign. Then Becky wins her 4th reign off Asuka. Then Alexa wins her 4th reign off Becky. And Charlotte wins her 6th reign. After that, she beats Alexa for it in 2026. Then Bianca wins it 2027 for the first time. Charlotte beats Bianca, wins it back. And Vanessa Bourne randomly wins it in 2027. Then Rhea beats her for it to win it back for the 3rd time. Charlotte becomes an 8-time Raw Women's Champion when she beats Rhea in February 2029. Then B-Fab of Hit Row fame wins her first Raw Women's Championship off Charlotte at whatever the September pay-per-view is in 2029. Takes it to the Royal Rumble 2030, where Lillian Bach, who is a regen, wins it. Then Bianca wins it off her. And then Shida wins it off Bianca, and she holds it currently in the year 2031. As for the SmackDown Women's Championship, AEW Joshi Central over here, by the looks of it. Bianca drops it to, of course, Charlotte at week 4 March 2022. Then Mia Yim wins it off Charlotte Flair. Charlotte wins it back. Then Mia wins it back off Charlotte. Then Charlotte wins her 8th SmackDown Women's Championship in the year 2023, before obviously going over to Raw and winning about 1 million belts over there. Rhea then gets her first SmackDown one off Charlotte. then Asuka, then Mia, then Io Shirai wins her first, then Britt Baker is the SmackDown Women's Champion in 2025, going into 2026, who drops it to B-Fab here, who actually won the SmackDown title first by the looks of it, and then she drops it to Asuka. Yeah, Asuka wins her third title, and Julia Hart is the SmackDown Women's Champion in 2027 from Rumble to SummerSlam. Then Alexa beats her for it. Then Riho wins her first reign at the 2028 Royal Rumble. Takes it to June, where Julia Hart wins her second reign, beating Riho for it. Then Bianca wins her second reign, nearly 7 years on from the first one, at SummerSlam in 2028. And then takes it to 2029, where Alexa beats her for it. And then Rhea beats Alexa to get her second reign. Asuka gets her fourth reign in 2029. Lacey Evans finally wins her first Women's Championship in the year 2030, and looks like she vacated right away. Yep, can't catch a break, poor lady. Then Asuka wins her fifth, and then Riho beat Asuka for it. John Cena. I can see he's a 3-time Universal Champion, so he's smashed that record. Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief, drops it to Finn Balor, and week 3 March 2022, apparently. And then I guess Braun's back, because he wins it in 2022 to 2023. The lineage of this belt looks quite interesting, the further up I go. John Cena then beats Braun for it to win his first Universal Championship. Possibly breaks the record there. Probably won the WWE title off Lashley, so who knows. Then speaking of Lashley, he beats John Cena for it in 2024. Then Cena wins it back. And then he drops it to Damian Priest, who wins it at the Rumble 2025. Takes it to August, where Rey Mysterio becomes Universal Champion in the year 2025. He takes it to the 2026 Royal Rumble, where Santana becomes the Universal Champion. He makes 17 defenses of it, takes it to October, where Adam Cole Bebe becomes the champion. Then he vacates it on week 3 of March 2027. Kevin Owens wins his second title in 2027. He loses it to Johnny Gargano, who loses it to Alexander Hammerstone. Then Kevin Owens beats Hammerstone for it. Hammerstone wins it back. He has to vacate it in 2029. Riddle wins it at week 3 March 2029. Takes it to September, where Hammerstone obviously came back from injury and won it back. And then he dropped it to Carmelo Hayes, the Universal Champion, who dropped it to current champion, 3-time Universal Champion John Cena. The WWE Championship. Current 4-time champion is Pete Dunne. Let's check this. So we've got Lashley lose it to Seth Rollins, week 3 of March 2022. Then Lashley wins it back off Seth. Then Kevin Owens beats Lashley for it. Then Pete Dunne wins his first WWE Championship in 2024. Then Finn Balor beats him for it, vacates it so Adam Cole can pick it up. Then Ricochet wins the WWE Championship at the Royal Rumble 2026. Takes it to November, where Pete Dunne wins his second reign. Elias wins his first WWE Championship in the year 2027. John Cena beats him for it, but I believe he'd already smashed the record by this point. He takes it to SummerSlam, where Pete Dunne beats him for it. Who takes it to March, where he drops it to Trey Baxter. Blake Christian, Trey Baxter, that guy. He's the WWE Champion in 2029, where he drops it to Kevin Owens, and then Pete Dunne beat Owens for it, and he's the current champion. So that's the title history of WWE. Let's do NXT next. Their title history gets a lot less interesting, because they haven't won either of the Dusties. And obviously with it being NXT, the further along we go, the more regens take it. So obviously Samoa Joe beat Cross for the belt. That's pretty much programmed into the mod, because Cross is on getting called up, and Joe is by far and away the most popular guy on the roster. He held it for over a year before losing it to Pete Dunne, who obviously vacated it. I don't know if he went up to the main roster to become 4-time WWE Champion at that point. But then Joe won the vacant belt. Santos Escobar won it off Samoa Joe, who then vacated it again. Timothy Thatcher then won it, who dropped it to Ari Sterling. And then we get into, I guess, regen territory, but I can see one name in there that in a regen. Christopher Mezger won it. Marco Stunt become NXT champion in the year 2027. He dropped it to Alan Cooper, who dropped it back to Marco Stunt. Then Dante Rios, Nolan Edward, and Jet Knight, who I actually don't believe is a regen. No, this guy looks like an actual wrestler. Okay, fair enough. He was hired by WWE in 2026. He's dating some woman called Lily Moore. Good for them. NXT Cruiserweight Championship. Again, it's going to become a lot of regens. Specifically, Kushida takes it, Roderick Strong won it, then Isaiah Scott beat him, then Cameron Grimes. Then Grimes vacated it, Trey Baxter, Carmelo Hayes, Grayson Waller, Asher Hale, then it was vacated, Alan Cooper, then Grayson Waller won it for a second time, Jet Knight, the guy we just saw, the DKC won it, then Timothy Troman, then back to the DKC, then back to Timothy Troman, Adam Horn, Timothy Troman, Robert Lindland, Braden Lee, and now this guy, Robert Lindland, 2-time champion. North American champion. Swerve takes it to December, where Timothy Thatcher beat him for it. Then Drake Maverick became the North American champion. Then Ari Sterling won it off Drake Maverick. Then Austin Theory beat him for it. Then Ike Manjiro, LA Knight, Bronson Steiner, William Hart, who I think is a regen. Gable Steveson, I didn't know he was set to debut, but he was in NXT. He was a North American champion down here. He dropped it to Trey Lamar. Ikuro Kwan then run it, and then Neil Stinson, who is a regen with Titus O'Neil's picture. I know that for a fact. Slice Boogie, and now this guy, Daniel Briscoe. Tag Team Championship is also bizarre, all over the place. Imperium beat MSK, then the Grizzled Young Vets won them, vacated them. MSK won their second reign, then Swerve and Drake Maverick, then it was vacant. Then Wesley and Nash Carter a third time. Samoa Joe and Odyssey Jones. Then Guru Raj and Alan Cooper, vacant. Marco Stunt and Trey Lamar. Joe Gacy and Nolan Edward, vacant. Bronson Steiner and William Hart. Marco Stunt and Trey Lamar again. Jordan Oliver and Nolan Edward. Ikuro Kwan and Trey Lamar. Dante Rios and L.A. Park Jr. Timothy Troman and Clifford Kyle. Douglas Hamill, and the DKC. Jet Knight and Scott Gibson. Gable Steveson and Juicy Finu. And then finally Frank Powell and Lance Strong, whoever they are. Oh, hey, this is an actual wrestler. Nice. Kylan King of AEW Dark fame is the NXT Women's Champion right now. So Raquel dropped it to Candice, who dropped it to Steph DeLanda, then B-Fab won it, then Amanda Winner, who sounds like a regen to me, then Zoe Stark, then JC Jane, then Amanda Winner again. These all sound like regens up until Kylan King, and then above, yeah. NXT Women's Tag Team Championships. Io and Zoe dropped them back to Candice and Indy. Then Gigi Dolan and JC Jane won them. Casey and Caden finally won them in 2023. Gigi and JC won them back. Then Melissa Bonello and Amanda Jocelyn, who are two regens, obviously. Then Gigi Dolan and JC Jane. Kim Gonzalez and Zoe Stark. I think Kim is a regen. Frankie Monet and Steph DeLanda. Then they were vacated. Melissa and Amanda, then it's just a bunch of regens up here just taking the belts, I believe. Yeah. So yeah, NXT becomes a lot less interesting the further we go on. And NXT UK is going to be exactly the same. There is one thing I do want to point out about NXT UK though. One single thing, other than the fact that Trent Seven is CEO and booker. And he booked himself to be the champion in the year 2031 at the age of 48. And some guy called Leo Rush, that isn't the real Leo Rush, was the champion before him, and that every single belt ends by vacation other than the last two. But 2025, Bailey Matthews here won a vacant championship. No, Oyson Delaney even won this championship here for 2025, because Volta held that thing for 6 years. Look at it. April 2019 to week 2 of April 2025. Volta held that UK title for 6 years before dropping it to this guy, Oyson Delaney. And then Trent Seven booked himself to win the championship the year 2031. Yeah, and these are just all going to be regens pretty much, yeah. Nothing interesting. That is going to be the main thing. I was like, oh, maybe I can say him another 10 years. But it's just going to be wrestlers we don't know, as all the actual current wrestlers phase out. But there was something I did forget to check about WWE. I'll go through their whole roster in a minute, but I wanted to check tag teams and stables. Back on the alley, Bailey Matthews, which is William Regal's son, and Rhett Titus. Berkman and Jardine are two regens, as are Kim and Stewart, as are Lebowski and Hart. Griff Garrison is in WWE and he's teaming with Cameron Grimes. Lucha Brothers are here. Mills, and they are, 7-time WWE Tag Team Champions. And I think they won the AEW. Yeah, they did, yeah. Mills and Malik also look like regens to me. And then these two regens as well, Pretty Deadly, are up here. Rainbow Express is Zicky Dice and Grayson Waller. Bayley and Zoe Stark are teaming now. Sasha Banks is obviously gone. Kaylee Ray and Toni Storm. Calvin Tankman and Lonnie Hart, who is a regen. T-Bar and Corey Abbott. Still stuck with that gimmick 10 years on. You poor guy. And then Corey Abbott is a regen. Grizzled Young Vets, and then Big E and Xavier Woods of the New Day. Stables. The Bloodline is inactive. But I only want to search for active stables. Got the Militia. Elias is the leader. Joey Janela is the member. Jacob Fatu is the muscle. And Paul Heyman is the support. That could work, I guess. The Revival, but not the actual Revival who were in WWE. Austin Theory, Bronson Steiner, and Moose. The Strain is John Cena, some random regen, and Otis. In the year 2031, a 50-odd-year-old John Cena is recruiting the help of a 40-year-old Otis and some young guy. And the Unstable is Alan Cooper, Chris Bay, and Fabian Eichner. Let's have a quick look through their roster. Obviously, pause it if you want to have a further in-depth look, but I'm going to pick the names out that jump out at me that shouldn't be here. I just saw Anthony Ogogo up there. Bunch of regens. These are the guys who are in. Christians in WWE again now. Bunch of regens again. Darby Allin is in WWE, and as you can see on here, a lot of people hate him. That's because Charlotte cheated on Andrade with him. In the year 2028, Charlotte cheats on Andrade with Darby Allin in WWE. So that's interesting. Dominic Mysterio is still here. He's a major star now. Eddie Kingston is in WWE as a retired manager. Griff Garrison, Shida is... Wait, I'm talking about Hikaru Shida, but I did just see the picture of the next guy. Yeah, Shida jumped over, obviously broke up with whoever she was dating. Santana, apparently. They were together for 7 years. Aw. Hiroshi Tanahashi is in WWE as a manager, color commentator, road agent, something. He's here though. He's under a WWE contract. Ike Manjiro, EO, JCJ. Yep, no one really overly interesting. Joey Janela, Julia Hart is in WWE and very much quite over, to be fair. Kevin Owens is still here. He's been here for 16 years at this point. That's nice. Chris Statlander is in WWE at 72 popularity. That's alright. Leo Rush, the fake Leo Rush. Bunch of more regens. Marco Stunt, 34. Mr. Money in the Bank. Marco Stunt at 80 pop. MJF, 94 popularity, is in WWE. Odyssey Jones is still up here. Otis, Pat McAfee, the Lucha Bros, obviously. Rey Mysterio, no, he's retired now at the age of 56. Razor, Rhea Ripley, Riho. I should probably fill her out actually, so I can not look at the regens and just see the interesting people. Cameron Grimes is up here called Trevor Lee. That's odd. I thought whenever they rehired people that they used their old names. Wardlow and Warhorse, both in WWE. Zack Ryder's back. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Because the rest of them are all uninteresting and regens. So we're going to hop over to AEW, where I'm sure Nightmare Family graduates are running rampant on this roster. Have a good old Hook. I can see in 10 years' time is the TNT champion. So we've got Miro. Miro drops it to Cody. Of course he does. Yep. Cody wins it. Then Moxley won it in 2022. He dropped it to Pac, who dropped it to MJF, who dropped it to Cody for his 4th reign. Then Adam Page won it for the first time in 2023. Then MJF beat him for it. Kenny Omega became the TNT champion in 2024. Adam Page won it off him, so that feud never dies. Sammy Guevara beats Page for it. Then Scorpio Sky wins it. Then Ethan Page, I guess, turned on Scorpio Sky and took the TNT championship off him. And then Page won it off Ethan. Adam Page, that is, off Ethan Page. Then Cody won it for the fifth time in 2026. He dropped it to MJF again. No, he beat MJF, sorry, down here. And then Brian Cage beat MJF for it in 2027. Eddie Kingston finally wins it in 2027 as well. Hook wins his first title off Eddie Kingston in 2027. Adam Page wins it back for the fourth time, then Sammy for a second. Evil Uno in 2028 becomes TNT champion. Flip Gordon in 2029 becomes TNT champion. MJF, Sammy, Flip, and then Hook. Jade Cargill, current three-time NXT AEW Women's Champion. So Britt Baker, they've got taking it to December, where Jade Cargill beats her for it. Then Chris Statlander beats Jade. Then the Bunny beats Statlander. Julia Hart then wins it. Then Thunder Rosa. Shida becomes the first two-time AEW Women's Champion in 2024. She drops it to Penelope Ford. Then back to Shida. Then Loretta Jackson, who I think is a Nightmare Family girl, wins it. Statlander beats her for it, drops it to Stephanie Randleman, who is another regen. Then Yuka Sakazaki wins it. Britt Baker wins it back. Then Jade Cargill wins it back. Layla Hirsch wins her first one in 2028. Britt Baker wins her third in 2029. Then she probably goes off to film a movie, so she vacates it. Yuka Sakazaki picks it up. And Ty Conti wins it in 2030, finally. Then Britt Baker comes back, wins it, and drops it to Jade Cargill, who's the current champion. AEW Tag Team Champions. The Young Bucks drop it to Rey Fenix and Pac in November of this year, and then they drop it back to the Bucks, who then drop it to the Lucha Bros. So I guess Rey Fenix is just their kryptonite. But then they beat the Lucha Bros for it to win their third Tag Team Championships. They then drop it to the Good Brothers, then to FTR, then back to the Good Brothers. Then Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss in 2025 become the Tag Team Champions. Evil Uno and Stu Grayson finally win them. Then Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison, the Varsity Ponds, win them in 2025. And Helico and Jack Evans win them in 2026. Then Hangman Page and Kenny Omega are back together in 2027 to win the Tag Team Championships. Then they drop them to Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela again. Then three-time champions, Hangman and Kenny. Then Sammy Guevara and Ortiz, so the Inner Circle, I guess, is still going on, while Santana is in WWE as the Universal Champion. Sammy and Ortiz are the team over here. And then Ortiz, of course, later join Santana in WWE. Thatcher and Tony Deppen. Then Hangman Page and Ethan Page, yep, that great meme. Thatcher and Tony Deppen then won them back. Then Hook and Nick Comoroto. Wardlow and Lee Johnson. And then finally Shane Strickland and El Hijo del Vikingo are the current champions. Now this roster kind of interests me, like what's going on here. Tag teams. Page and Omega are back together, three-time tag team champions. Tyler Bate and Brock Ann, I rate that, I rate that. Bear Country is still here. Big Swole and Anna Jay are a tag team. Jay Grove, who I think is a regen, don't at me. Yeah, he's from the WWE Performance Center. He's another all ex-WWE, haha. And Bandido. And then these two. Ambrose Rebato is from the Nightmare Family, and Jasper Kwan is an actual wrestler that I don't know. Legion of Death is Nick Comoroto and Hook. See, if Hook grows more into like looking like his dad, maybe I could see that, but current Hook, no. Trey Miguel and Gino Medina, Mike Seidel and Dante Martin, Wheeler Yuta and Mims, Penelope Ford and June Rush. Then Private Party is still here. Got Strange Strickland and Hijo del Vikingo and Anna Jay, Tay Conti and Layla Hirsch. Stables. Shut It Down. Retribution has come to AEW, and they consist of Timothy Thatcher, who is the leader, Akeem Young, who is Reggie, and Sam Shaw, who is Dexter Loomis. Shut It Down. The Flood is a regen, Barbano Cabanero, Gino Medina, and Trey Miguel. The Sorority is two regens and that Jasper Kwan guy. The Swarm is 10, Carl Peck, and Tully Hackney. The Swines is Seth Rollins, the leader, Alex Zane, and Kevin Koo. Seth Rollins did actually have, or Tyler Black, I should say, did actually have another group. I can't remember the name of it. but it was him, Kyle O'Reilly, Rocky Romero, and Flip Gordon, and I really liked that. That's like the best group I've ever seen the TWAI actually book. And yeah, and unfortunately I have looked at the Wingmen. I know who's in the Wingmen because I saw it and I was like, hey, the Wingmen's still together in 2031? Well, kind of. Because the Wingmen in 2031 is Santos Escobar leading, Kyle O'Reilly, and then Ryan Nemeth is still there. AEW's roster, again, flick through, same thing. Reggie is in here, fourth member of Retribution, 70 popularity. What a guy. Bunch of regens that no one cares about. Britt Baker, after going to WWE's back in AEW. Dante Martin still here. Denzel Dejournette is in AEW. Hook still here. Omos is in AEW. Jordan Omog-Behin at 77 pop. So maybe if we keep going for a little bit longer, Omos will become AEW World Champion. We can only hope. Jungle Boy. Oh wait, we didn't even look at the world title because I was saving it till last. But Jungle Boy finally wins it in 2030 for the first time. But Kenny drops it to Cody Rhodes because of course he does. Then Cody drops it to Miro, who vacates it. Then Pac wins it off the vacant. Then John Moxley becomes the first two-time AEW World Champion. He then vacates it as well. And Sammy Guevara wins the vacant belt. Then Cody wins his second world title. He drops it to MJF. Then Scorpio Sky wins it. Then Sammy wins it again. Then MJF wins it again. Then it's vacated. Then Nick Jackson becomes World Champion. Then Ethan Page also becomes AEW World Champion in 2029. He then vacates it, and then Jungle Boy now has it. Anyway, so back to Jungle Boy, because I just saw he had the AEW World title. That's not why we didn't look at the titles. Kyle O'Reilly's down here as part of the Wingmen. Mansoor, Mace, both of them in AEW. Nick Jackson. No Matt Jackson, though, so I don't know what happened to him. Paul White's still here. Sammy Guevara, Samoa Joe. You'll notice no Chris Jericho. I'm sure we'll get into why there's no Chris Jericho here at some point. But yeah, he's far from in AEW right now. What other companies I have written down? Impact. Let's see, they've already got some interesting names. I do know there's a big name in the world of professional wrestling right now that we haven't seen listed on either the AEW or WWE roster. And there's a reason for that, that's because he's in Impact. He may well still be their current world champion. And we'll get into why he's in Impact shortly. But Deonna drops it to Mickie James, who then drops it to Tenille, who then drops it to Lady Frost, who drops it to Cassie Lee. Then Chelsea Green sort of just dominated it from this point. Chelsea Green won it in 2023. Then her and Tenille traded it for 2 years. So it goes Chelsea, Tenille, Chelsea, Tenille, Chelsea, Tenille, Chelsea, and then Susan wins it in 2026, breaking that chain. Liv Morgan wins the Knockouts Championship in 2026. And then Chelsea Green wins her 6th title off Liv in 2027. Kimberly wins it. Then Chelsea Green wins her 7th title in 2028. Susan wins her 4th in 2029. She vacates. Maserati wins it. And now Lady Frost is on her 2nd reign. Knockouts Tag Team Championships. Chelsea Green started to take these ones instead then, by the looks of it. So it starts with Havoc and Rosemary. And then Tenille and Susan won them. And then Havoc and Rosemary won them back. They vacated. The Iconics won them in 2025 after a 3-year absence of them being vacant. Then Liv and Lady Frost won them. Then the Iconics. Then Jordan Grace and Kimberly. Then the Iconics. Then Liv Morgan and Lacey Frost. Then Ruby Soho and Rachel Ellering. Then Liv Morgan and Lacey Frost won their 3rd. Then Susan and Ethel Psycho, who must be a regen, but name Psycho sort of fits with Su Yung, I guess. Liv Morgan and Lady Frost won their 4th. Then, speaking of crazy, Susan and Crazy Mary Dobson, 2 more. I guess another fitting team, win them off Liv and Lady Frost. They vacate. Then Jordan Grace and Jasmine Aribi, or Aaliyah, win them. Then Liv Morgan and Lady Frost win their 5th. They vacate. Maserati and Red Velvet win them. And then Chelsea Green and Jasmine Aribi, Aaliyah. I guess The Robert Stone brand reuniting 10 years later in Impact to become the tag team champions. Oh god! Impact World Tag Team Championship starts on the Good Brothers. They lose it to Josh Alexander and Matt Cardona in January 2022, who then drop them to Rich Swann and Willie Mack. Then James Storm and Moose win them. Then Rich Swann and Willie Mack win their second off them. Then Ace Austin and Madman Fulton win them. Then Rich Swann and Willie Mack win their third. Then Moose and Heath win it. Then Matt Cardona and Alexander Hammerstone. Heath and Jake Something. Zim Salmani and Sonny Dinser, or AOP, Aiko and Razor. Ace Austin and Madman Fulton win their second. Then Matt Cardona and Alexander Hammerstone win their second. Colt Cabana and Moose win them in 2025. Then they vacate them. Laredo Kid and Sam Beal win them. Then Eric Young and Joe Doring. Colt Cabana and Trey Miguel. Effie and Falabar. Steve Macklin and Shanky Singh. Or Shanky, as he's now known on Raw's television screens. Jay Lethal and Brian Myers then win them. Then Steve Macklin and Shanky Singh. Then Jay Lethal and Brian Myers again. Then Black Rain, yep, the Black Rain, 60-year-old Dustin Rhodes in the year 2028, and Crimson win them. Then Falabar and AC Mack. Robbie E and Heath. Falabar and AC Mack. Sorav and Matthew Justice. Then they vacate them. Then Robbie E and Heath win them. And then Mascara Dorada and Gunner, so Grand Metalik and Jackson Riker, are the current Impact Tag Team Champions. The X Division Championship went from Josh Alexander in real life to Brian Myers, then Rich Swann, then Eric Young, then Heath, then Eddie Edwards, then Heath, then Alex Shelley, then Heath, then Trey Miguel, then Alex Shelley, then Eddie Edwards, then Willie Mack, then Alex Shelley, then Gary Gordon, who is, if I'm not mistaken, Angelo Dawkins? Can I check? No. Willie Mack is then won it, then Rich Swann, then Willie Mack, then Effie, then Johnny Impact in 2027 is back in Impact and he won the X Division title. Then Alex Shelley won his fifth, then Johnny Impact, then Alex Shelley, then Stu Grayson. Then Kofi Kingston in the year 2029 became the X Division champion. Then him and Stu Grayson passed it about, so Stu Grayson is the current champion. Are you ready for the Impact World Championship? Doc Gallows is the current champion. So Kenny Omega, he won it in real life, obviously. He takes it to January 2022, where Moose is the man to dethrone him. He drops it to Alex Shelley, who wins his first world title in 2022. And then Moose beats him for it again. Then Alex Shelley wins it back off Moose. Then Sami Callihan wins it in 2024. Trey Miguel becomes Impact World Champion in the year 2024 as well. He then drops it to EC3. Then back to Trey Miguel. Then back to EC3. Rich Swann then becomes a two-time Impact World Champion in the year 2026. Where he's thwarted by Joe Anoa'i, who holds it for over a year. And takes it to January 2028, where EC3 beats him. Then Eli Drake wins it back. Then Joe Anoa'i wins it for a second time. And now Doc Gallows is the Impact World Champion. So yeah, this guy kind of fell off. And I'll explain why. He was on top of the world right at the start of the save. But in March of 2023, Roman Reigns has become embroiled in a scandal after his regular use of prostitutes was revealed. Roman Reigns released by WWE. And then he became untoxic in 2025, and then by that point the damage had been done to his pop. So only the NWA and Impact were hiring him, and then they loaned him through the Forbidden Door a couple of times. And now he's just a mid-card, well, main eventer in Impact, but just sort of mid-level wrestler at the age of 45. Sad times for the big dog. The tribal chief fell off a cliff. I think this one's really boring, the IWGP, because look, Takahashi and Ryu Lee are the only people that have won Best of Super Juniors, G1, Okada, Jay White, Naito, Ospreay, Naito, Ospreay, Naito, Ospreay. Junior Heavyweight Championships, Chip, the single one. Robbie Eagles holds it to start with, then Ryu Lee, Robbie Eagles, Ryu Lee, Robbie Eagles, Ryu Lee, Hiromu, Ryu Lee, Yosuke Santa Maria, Chris Brooks, Yosuke Santa Maria, Chris Brooks. So yeah, they don't really experiment too much with who they put their titles on over here. Phantasmo and Taiji drop them to Sho and Yo, then Gedo and Jado won them. Sho and Yo, El Phantasmo, Taiji, Sho and Yo, Phantasmo and Taiji, Sho and Yo, Chris Brooks and Phantasmo, Sho and Yo, Yosuke Santa Maria and Alex Coughlin, Sho and Yo, Templario and Dookie, and now Sho and Yo are current 12-time champions. Over here, Finn Juice won them off Taichi and Zack Sabre Jr., then Evil and Sonada, then Dangerous Tekkers won them back, Evil and Sonada, Taichi and Zack Sabre Jr. again, then Shunma Katsumata and Mikey Nichols, then Taichi and ZSJ, then Evil and Sonada, Shunma and Katsumata and Mikey Nichols, and Evil and Sonada won them again. And now currently Zack Sabre Jr. is partners with Tokuhei Sanjo, who looks like a regenerated. Yes. IWGP World Championship went from, there's still not even a whole page of lists. That's how little they changed this belt. Shingo drops it to Okada, then back to Shingo, then back to Okada, then back to Shingo, then back to Okada, then to Jay White, then to Ospreay, and now to Sonada. Haven't run Lions Break Cup. Never Openweight Championship. Goes from Jay White to Go-O to Suzuki to Jay White. Then it's vacated. Then Hiromu, Robbie Eagles, Ryu Lee, Bushi, Robbie Eagles, vacant, Hiromu, Yusuke, Kodama, Gedo, Gabriel Kidd, and Gedo. Never 6-man championships. I guess Pac back over to here. The current champions are Goto, Ishii, and Yoshihashi. They drop to Minoru Suzuki, Taichi, and Zack Sabre Jr. Then Nagata, Ospreay, and Eagles. Then Katsumata, Evil, and Sonada. Then Suzuki, Taichi, and ZSJ. Then Hene, Cobb, and Great Okan. Then Jay White, Katsumata, and Mikey Nichols. Then Suzuki, Taichi, and ZSJ. Then Mikey Nichols, Daisuke Nakai, and Ryotsu Shimizu. Then Clark Connors, Carl Fredericks, and Hikuleo. Then Ryotsu Shimizu, Shunma Katsumata, and Mikey Nichols. Then Yuji Okabayashi, Brian Cage, and Hikuleo. Then it's vacated. Then Yusuke Kodama, Naruhiko Tsuji, and Tokuhei Sanjo. And then finally, Yuki Ueno, Robbie Eagles, and Pac. New Japan Cup was won by Tanahashi, Okada, Hiromu, Naito, Okada, Hiromu, Naito, Hiromu, and then Shunma Katsumata. Super Junior Tag League, Bushi and Ryu Lee, Bushi and Yosuke Santa Maria, Bushi and Eagles, Fuminori Abe and Kudo, Bushi and Eagles, then Yosuke Santa Maria and Alex Coughlin twice, then Eagles and Gabriel Kidd, then Alex Coughlin and Fuminori Abe, and then Pac and Yuki Ueno were the last winners. And then Lance Archer and Ryu Lee won World Tag League in 2021, Bushi and Katsumata, Jeff Cobb and Great Okan twice, then Shunma Katsumata and Mikey Nichols, then Yosuke Santa Maria and Alex Coughlin, Clark Connors and Gabriel Kidd twice, and then Naruhiko Tsuji and 2K Sanjo twice. There's not really anyone cool. Jonah Rock is in not AEW, New Japan, which actually is cool, to be fair. Seeing him do some IWGP US title stuff, which I've just realised is probably in the Alliance titles. So I literally have no idea what that is, because I haven't even looked at that at all throughout the entire save, so that'll be interesting. Who else do I have written down? Ring of Honor. And I've just realised the NWA probably have a lot of people as well. Yeah, Ring of Honor Wrestling. Let's look at their championships. The pure champion is Stu Grayson, who is coming off one hell of a Ring of Honor world title reign. I'll tell you that. He was a pretty good world champion, literally just before the person who wins it off him. So Ray Horace beats Jonathan Gresham for it. Then Rocky Romero, then Alex Shelley, then Tony Deppen, then Matt Silver, who is obviously Buddy Murphy, then Flip Gordon, Lee Moriarty, Matt Silver, Tony Deppen, Kyle O'Reilly's back in ROH, bless his little heart, and then Hero del Vikingo, then Lee Moriarty, Eddie Edwards, and Will Hobbs, and then finally Stu Grayson. Survival of the Fittest hasn't been run, neither is the Top Prospect Tournament. The Women's World Champion is Hyun, and Alison Kay dropped it to Chelsea Green, and then Alison Kay wins it back, then Quinn McKay, Chelsea Green, Hyun, Chelsea Green, Trish Adora, Quinn McKay, Trish Adora, Quinn McKay, Trish Adora, Quinn McKay, Trish Adora, and Hyun. The World Six-Man Tag Team Championships started on Shane Taylor, Quan Moses, Then EC3, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, which I guess is some version of the Kingdom, won them. Then Alex Shelley and the Briscoes. Then Flip Gordon, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. Then Tony Deppen, Bandino and Demonic Flamita. Then Rocky Romero, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. Then they were vacated. Then Bateman and the Briscoes won them. Then Kyle O'Reilly, Nick Aldis and Humberto Carrillo won them. Then it was vacated. Then Sheamus, Zenshi and Lee Moriarty won them. Then they were vacated. Dalton Castle, Dave Boy Smith Jr. and Dak Draper won them. Then Eddie Edwards and the Briscoes. And then finally Dalton Castle, Josh Alexander and Sam Adonis. Then we start with the Tag Team Championships, which start on Chris Dickinson and Homicide, who vacated them. Then the Briscoes won them. Then Matt Taven and Mike Bennett won them. Then the Briscoes won them back. Then AOP won them. Then Quan and Moses. Then the Von Erichs. Then Chris Hero and Davey Richards. Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. The Briscoes, Davey Boy Smith Jr. and Dak Draper. The Briscoes win their 15th Ring of Honor Tag Team Championship reign in 2029. And then finally got into our current champions, who are Fidel Bravo and Barrett Brown. Are these regens or are these real wrestlers? No, these look like real people to me. I have no idea who they are. Sorry, fellas. But Fidel Bravo is also the World Television Champion, which started on Dragon Lee, who drops it to EC3, then to Bateman, then to Jonathan Gresham, then to Wheeler Yuta, who vacates, then Matt Silver wins it, then Nick Aldis, then Dalton Castle, vacant, Humberto Carrillo, Low-Key, Jonathan Gresham, Mike McGrath, Australian Suicide, Eddie Edwards, Will Hobbs, Richard Holiday, Matt Savage, and then Fidel Bravo. And then finally the World Champion, Richard Holiday. Starts on Bandito, yeah. And then he drops in January 2022 to Brody King, then to Alex Shelley, then to Flip Gordon, back to Alex Shelley, then to Tony Deppen, then to Stu Grayson, which this was the reign actually I was thinking about, this nearly long reign here. No, he's had two nearly year-long reigns, actually. Yeah, he's just a very good Ring of Honor World Champion. El Hijo del Vikingo, vacant, Stu Grayson, and then Richard Holiday. And then I want to check the NWA title as well, because they've probably taken some interesting people. I know for a fact they have, because if we look at the Crockett Cup, right off the get-go, the Pope and JR Kratos won it in 2022. 23 was won by Nick Aldis and Tom Latimer. 2024, Moose and Alexander Hammerstone. 25, it was won by Nick Aldis and Tom Latimer again. In the year 2026, the NWA Crockett Cup was won by the team of Joe Anoa'i, Roman Reigns, and Heath, bracket Slater. Rich Swann and Pepper Parks, 2027. Joe Anoa'i and Sean Spears, 2028. Tom Pestock and Babatunde, 2029. And Tom Pestock and Rich Swann, 2030. Tom Pestock, for those who may be unaware, is not a name you'll recognise, but it is a face you'll recognise. This boy here. He's down so bad on his luck, he's gone to the NWA and he's like their top guy. And he's also the UWN World Champion, whatever that means. Anyway, championships. The NWA National Champion, Cedric Alexander. He won it, so no, he didn't win it. It started on Chris Adonis, and then he dropped it to Tim Storm, dropped it to the Pope, dropped it to Heath, then to Moose, then to Rich Swann, then to Tom Latimer, then to Rockstar Spud, then to Nick Aldis, then to Eric Young, then to Drew Gulak in 2026, then Shane Strickland in 2027. Jinder Mahal in the year 2027/2028 is the NWA National Champion. Then Drew Gulak for the second time. EC3, Joe Anoa'i, the big dog, 2029. Jinder Mahal then beat Roman Reigns for the NWA National Championship in the year 2029. Took it to 2030, where Roman Reigns beat him for it again, and then he dropped it to Cedric Alexander, who currently holds it. Oh dear. So Aaron Stevens and JR Kratos start as the tag team champions. They dropped them to Fred Rosser, Darren Young, and Tyrus Brodus Clay, who dropped them to Nick Aldis and Tom Latimer, dropped them to the team of Slice Boogie and JTG, then to Fred Rosser and Rich Swann, then to Trevor Murdoch and Tim Storm, where they vacated it, And then a little Nexus reunion went on here, because Heath and Fred Rosser in 2025 became the tag team champions of the NWA. Cedric Alexander and Colt Cabana then beat them. Then the team of Joanna Awayi and Sean Spears won it. The 10 Dogs, whatever you want to call them. Shane Strickland and Heath then beat them for it. And then Joanna Awayi and Sean Spears won them back. Colt Cabana and Paro, Dustin Rhodes and Mike Rallis, who is Riddick Moss, won them in 2029. Rockstar Spud won them in 2029 with Colt Cabana, who dropped them to Big Banter Baron and AC Mack. And then Rockstar Spud came out with a new tag team partner in 2030 to win them off of Corbin and AC Mack, and that is Keith Lee. The current NWA World Television Champion, Drew Gulak. Let's take a look at the reign for this. The Pope drops it to Chris Adonis, then to Aaron Stevens, who drops it to Vacant, then to Tim Storm, JR Kratos, JTG, Mecha Wolf, JTG, Bessia 666, to Vacant, Dustin Rhodes, to Vacant, to JTG, to Cedric Alexander, to Trevor Murdoch, to Colt Cabana, to Paro, to my boy Babatunde, to Paro again, to Trevor Murdoch again, to Paro again, to Babatunde again, to Drew Gulak, to Dustin Rhodes, to Colt Cabana, to Dustin Rhodes, to JTG. The NWA Women's Championship starts on Camille. She drops it to Mickie James. Then it's vacated. Then Serena Deeb wins it. Then Camille again. Then Serena again. Vacant. Tennille Dashwood then wins it. Then Athena, who is Ember Moon, she takes it. Then Tennille beats her back for it. Then Camille wins it again. Kimberly, Camille, Kenzie Page, Taryn Terrell, and then Jamie Hayter is the current NWA Women's Champion. The NWA Women's World Tag Team Championships were formed in the year 2022 by the looks of it. I don't think they're real, are they? Well, they might be because they've got a picture. Melina and Taryn Terrell won them to start with, though. Then Genocide and Alex Gracia. Then Tennille Dashwood and Taryn Terrell. Then Genocide and Alex Gracia. Then they were vacant for 5 years until the Perfect Team came along, and boy did it. Liv Morgan and Jasmine Aribi, aka Aaliyah, those two actual real-life best friends, finally got to be the tag team champions before dropping them to Kenzie Page and Jamie Hayter. The NWA World Championship. Nick Aldis' reign clocked in at nearly 4 years, 33 defenses, before he was bested by Fred Darren Young Rosser, who drops it to Jordan Clearwater, who then drops it back to Nick Aldis, then to Eric Young, then to Sean Spears, then to Cedric Alexander, then to Pepper Parks, who in the year 2028 drops it to Jinder Mahal, and Jinder Mahal takes it in 2029, and then JTG wins it, and then finally Rocky Romero. I think that's all of the top companies I wanted to go over. I can just flick through like the rosters here, so you can see the top guys in all the promotions. Pause, obviously, if you do want to have a further look at some of them. But yeah, I think there's like a couple of Ronda Rousey's in Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. DDT, you've got a couple of people written. I can see Shotzi's in there. Or is that even her? Is that just Blackheart? No, that's Leo Rush. Okay. I guess because there's that WWE guy called Leo Rush, he can't use his name. Ronda's also in Defy with, wait, what's happening over here? Defy Wrestling has Ronda, Matt Jackson, Kurt Angle, Jey Uso, Nick Aldis. That looks like a okay roster. Dragon Gate, who I know at one point did have Reggie locked in, but he's now in AEW. GC Dub, Prince Devitt is in there, but he's retired, so he's not actually wrestling over there. This new company, Gleet, had a couple of people I know locked in. They had Cesaro for a while. I think Sami Zayn was also over there. Remy Sabai, whatever his name is. You can see, oh, he's still here. There he is. And Shingo's in here as well. So they've got a decent little roster forming. No championships though. A lot of people have passed through ICW. Sheamus, most notably. Mustafa Ali, Shotzi Blackheart. All these people have come through ICW and NHB. Looked at Impact. MLW has Mustafa Ali as their top guy. They've got Adam Cole. Let's have a look at their titles quickly. Rockstar Spud is the middleweight champion. Babatunde is the Openweight Champion. Malachi Black is the MLW World Champion for the 3rd time. And the titles are vacant. That's okay. They're doing alright. Matt Jackson's over here. Nick Jackson's still in AEW, but Matt, is he retired? No, he's still going. He's just... Oh, he's the IWGP US Champion, which I haven't looked at yet. There's a spoiler for that, I guess. Again, I'm going to skip through these quite quick. Pause if there's any you want to look at specifically. Right, so how do I get to that alliance? Yes, I know there's a schools in there that I want to look at. I want to see if I can get to the alliances. I've never looked at alliances before. Here they go. Forbidden Door. Right. Titles. So this is actually the first time I've ever looked at this. Some of the other titles I did look at, some of the not the entire histories before, but let's see who's won this. Lance Archer starts with it. He drops it to Tanahashi, then Ray Horace, then Tom Lawler, then Will Ospreay, then Alex Shelley, then Bushi, then Rocky Romero, then Kip Sabian, then Chris Brooks, and now finally Matt Jackson is the US champion. Interesting. I don't think the WWE Universe doesn't have any belts. As you can see here, there's a couple of training schools and people that have retired. Becky Lynch has one. This is actually what led me to think of, like, it should be programmed in, right? Because, like, if I look here, if I go to, the Creative Pro Wrestler School, Brian Myers, and Brian Myers, say, trained Frank Boone here, he should have Brian Myers as a mentor, shouldn't he? Is that just me? I think that should be a thing that's programmed into the game. I don't know how difficult it would be. Can't imagine 2. But, yeah, if you're watching Adam Ryland, because you're interested in how your game simulates, Rob Van Dam School, they should all have RVD as their protege, or mentor even. School of Mickey James, Taka Michinoku, Prince Devitt has a school, Emi Sakura. Yeah. But, I think I've gone over all the rosters. And, yeah, there's just a random news piece I do want to go over. Like, let's check out, like, relationships and... Oh, definitely worker deaths, of course. Because there's a couple of people, for example, if I was to go to search for a wrestler, and I hinted at it earlier on, if I try and find Chris Jericho, he's gone. Chris Jericho passed away in April of 2028 at the age of 57. R.I.P. Yeah, but also another person I want to go over in terms of the passing away aspect. There was one weird death that happened a lot earlier than it should. Montez Ford died in the year 2025 after falling through an open window. So that's why he didn't win anything. He was gone. Vince actually was the next person to go, literally the day after him, at the age of 79 in the year 2025. And then, yeah, these are the people that have passed on in this save. Couple of big names in here. DDP, 67 in 2023. Theodore Long, Natalia Markova died after falling through an open window, just like Montez Ford did. Sergeant Slaughter, Jake Roberts. You may think this is a little bit bleak, sorry, but this kind of stuff does interest me. Jeff Jarrett, 59, 2027. Sting, 2027 at the age of 68. Samara, who is that one Indian woman from whatever her name is in NXT, she died on 2027 in a gardening accident at the age of 31. Hogan went in 2027 at the age of 73. Joey Lawler went 77. Inoki lasted until 84. Lacey Von Erich went. There's Jericho, bless him. William Regal, poor guy, also gone. Jim Duggan, Tom Pritchard, Eric Bischoff, Marty Jannetty, Stevie Richards, Mako Satomura became impaled on a flagpole in 2029. Finley's gone, yeah. Jim Cornette's gone. Jim Ross, Dutch Mantel. Yeah, just a couple of people. Relationships is a part that always makes me giggle. Let's take a look at all the relationships. Some notable ones that off the top of my head is like basically every single couple you can think of in real life, except for I think Cody and Brandy made it. They've all broken up. Candice and Gargano divorced. Seth and Becky divorced. Andrade and Charlotte, of course, broken up because she cheated on him with Darby Allin. Adam Cole and Britt Baker were split up, and then Adam Cole began dating Adja Smith, the referee from NXT, who's engaged in real life to Leon Ruff because they got divorced, and then he cheated on her with Toni Storm, so he's a bit of a player. Adam Page dated Red Velvet and then cheated on her with Jade Cargill. Yeah, just silly stuff like this that makes me giggle whenever I play the game. It's a very strange world. Like, I think Becky got engaged to somebody outside the wrestling world that wasn't Seth Rollins, and then got divorced from him as well. It's been such a long sim that people have broken up and started dating new people. It's weird. But yeah, I'm just having a fiddle around now. It's just, yeah, nothing really interesting going on. Yeah, but obviously I did think about taking this 10 years further into the future. As you can see, Wardlow and Big Swole, after Big Swole has broken up with Cedric Alexander because Cedric cheated on her with Sasha Banks. Anyway, as I was saying, I was going to say I'll take this 10 years into the future, but it would just become full of regens, so it wouldn't really be that interesting, because it would just be people that we don't know in companies. Obviously, if you do want to see it, do say, just on the off chance that there's some real life people still around, or you want to see like what happens when the Kenny Omegas, the Seth Rollinses, and all these people retire. I could go further. It takes, well, I'm not gonna say fucking forever. It's taken a good while to sim a year at this point, but I'll do it if it's really in demand. And I do have another one of these planned at the minute, where I'm going to take the 2010 mod and sim to the current day. And that's taking a lot less time than this did, so that should actually not be that too long after this has been uploaded. But this is the sort of thing I do want to kind of start and do. And I know Tay, bless his heart, tried to start another series and then couldn't commit, so he's going to do videos like this as well. But I quite like the idea, so I'm going to steal it off him because fuck him. But I'm not doing what he's done, and if he's doing this, then it's a complete coincidence. But I'm not going to do any of the stuff he's planned on doing. And if I say I want to do something and he wants to do it as well, he'll tell me and shout at me, because he's not afraid to do that. But yeah, of course, if you want to have any other ideas of what other stuff I can sim and do shit like this, because I am a nerd, this does interest me, like just to see how the game plays itself. Often the times I do just sit here and let the game play itself, and I've got nothing to do. Yeah, so I'm going to try and take the 2010 mod to real world 2021, and then see what that world's like, see if there's anything similar, different to real life. And then obviously if you've got any other ideas of what I can do for like sort of similar videos, one-off videos like this, I do have another fun idea in the works, but it's going to take quite a lot of setting up to get done. But yeah, if that comes out, that should also be very fun. Not something I've seen people do before. But yeah, I'm just babbling now as we scroll through this long list of people breaking up and becoming friends. I think I've looked at everything cool. Actually, no, what I do want to look at, to be fair, who's in Hall of the Immortals? AJ Styles was in 2023. Inoki, Bret Hart, Brock Lesnar, Bryan Danielson, Edge, Tanahashi, Hogan, Koji Muto, Misawa, Randy Savage, Rey Mysterio, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, the Steiner Brothers, Steve Austin, and Sting. What about the WWE Hall of Fame? I actually want to see, right, because I know there is a button I can press, right, so if I go Hall of Fame, These are the people that have been inducted, who've been inducted since The Sims started. Becky Lynch, retiring in 2028. She's in the WWE Hall of Fame as a 3-time SmackDown Women's Champion, 2-time Women's Money in the Bank winner, 4-time Raw Women's Champion, and a 4-time Women's Royal Rumble winner. Beth Phoenix, Goldberg's in real life. Billy Gunn's in 2024. He gets inducted. Beat up Bobby Lashley, WWE Hall of Famer. Brock Lesnar, Bryan Danielson, Bully Ray, Charles Robinson. That's weird and cool that he's in there. Poor Chris Jericho, after he, Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit passed on. He's been inducted. Christian Cage, 2024. CM Punk, 2025. Dolph Ziggler is in the Hall of Fame. Edge and Christian as a team went in. Jeff Hardy's in 2023. John Morrison got inducted into the Hall of Fame. Kane. Kaiji Muto. Matt Hardy, there he is here. Big Show's in. Who's that? Rey Mysterio. Rick Steiner. RVD. Scott Steiner. Sheamus got inducted. That's nice. The Steiner Brothers as a tag team. The Great Khali, that's real life, in it. The Hardy Boys. The Miz is in the Hall of Fame. The Usos, that's cool. They're in the Hall of Fame. Vince McMahon, 2025, he got inducted. William Regal, obviously after he passed on as well, got inducted. But what we're going to do is we're going to click Check Hall of Fame. And I'm going to induct every single person that says is eligible. Let's see what kind of wacky names get inducted. Alexa Bliss is going into the WWE Hall of Fame. So is Charlotte Flair. And Xavier Woods. And Brother Devon. And Cody Rhodes. Ugh. I'm actually going to say no to that one. The Rock is going in. Big E is going in. John Cena is going in. Jushin Thunder Liger. Kevin Owens. Kofi Kingston. Lance Storm. Triple H. Randy Orton. The Undertaker. Pat McAfee as an announcer in the Hall of Fame. Ricochet. The New Day. Kana. Asuka. Rhea Ripley. Io Shirai. James Drake. Zach Gibson are in the WWE Hall of Fame. Pete Dunne. Ray Phoenix. Pentagon. Lucha Bros as a tag team. Fabian Eichner is going into the WWE Hall of Fame. As is Marcel Bartel. As is Bianca Belair. So there we go. Some very funky names in there. Zach Gibson, WWE Hall of Famer in the year 2031. Same with Fabian Eichner and Imperium as a tag team. Cody. Is there any other that got Hall of Fame? I think Impact have a Hall of Fame, didn't they? Yes, let's go. Oh, I shouldn't be this excited. I can see they've inducted Liv Morgan and Lady Frost as a tag team. That's nice. Liv Morgan is an Impact Hall of Famer. There you go, Tay. Now you can't ever get me for stealing anything off you because Liv's in the Hall of Fame over here. Sue Young's in here. Let's check them. Alex Shelley, of course. Yeah. James Storm, of course. Jay Lethal. Chelsea Green. And they're all in the Hall of Fame, yeah. There we go. That's what they had. Do AEW have a Hall of Fame? They do. Let's see who can go into the AEW Hall of Fame. Cody Rhodes, Kenny Omega, Nick Jackson, MJF, Adam Page, Sammy Guevara, Tony Khan, Hook. Fuck Matt Jackson, I guess then. Big Hook's in though, that's all that matters. Oh. Do NXT have a Hall of Fame? I can make one. They've inducted Samoa Joe. Triple H, obviously. And that's it. Yeah. I think we're done. I've checked Hall of Immortals, Hall of Fame, checked them, checked the schools, I've checked the people. Well, not all of the people, but I'm not going to go through every single fucking wrestler. I've checked the rosters of the important companies, or of WWE and AEW, and then scrolled through the rest. Company wars I've checked, most popular. Power 500, here's the entire Power 500 for the year 2030. And I think I'll scroll through that as I say my goodbyes. Right. I know I've pretty much already signed off a minute ago, but I'm going to go through it again if there's anything. Like, this is fun. This is the sort of one-off thing, because what I notice is, like, obviously Challenge Run's going to go nowhere because that's my save, and I love doing it, and I've got no plans to stop it anytime soon. But what I did notice is, like, when I uploaded the How I Book video, that I was gaining, like, more subs and more traction, because obviously at the point of Challenge Run now, people aren't gonna jump in at episode 164, and they're gonna see a big number like that and think, oh god, I don't want to start from the beginning. So that would explain why it sort of seems like when I upload just Challenge Run stuff that it stagnates a bit more, and that when something like this or like the booking video goes up, why more people will be interested, because they haven't got to jump into a series that's already over 100 episodes deep. So again, that's not going to go anywhere. I keep having passing by joking discussions with Amadou and or Doom Wrestling and Tay and other friends about getting a Twitch account started up where you can stream shit, but nothing's in progress there as of yet. Yeah, Challenge Run going nowhere. I've got other ideas for sim stuff I want to do. I'm already nearly at modern day in the 2010 mod, so that would be the next one. It'll probably be like, what if 2021 was in 2010 or something, some weird title like that. And then I've got another idea for a sim say I want to do. But if you've got any other ideas that you think will be cool and you want to see, maybe I'll take an older mod, maybe one of the 90s ones to modern day, see what happens with that. Yeah, anything like that, do let me know. And until next time, as I scroll through to 210, we'll stop here. Yusuke Kodama. Obviously, again, if you want to see this continue, do say that you want to go another 10 years. I just thought it would be a bit boring because it would be full of, like, regens, and I don't know if that would be that interesting. Anyway, see you next time. Bye.